This message comes from Amazon One Medical. When you're sick and your doctor can't see you for 3 weeks, well, it might as well be 3 years. Amazon One Medical has 24/7 virtual care. They know that colds can't wait. Healthcare just got less painful. Amazon One Medical.
Hello, hello. I'm Brittany Luce, and you're listening to It's Been a Minute from NPR, a show about what's going on in culture and why it doesn't happen by accident. All right. This week, we are connecting the dots between Chapel Roan, skincare dupes, and the Nintendo Switch. I know. How are all these things connected? Well, we are going to find out with co-host of NPR's Indicator podcast, Wailin Wong, and co-host of NPR's Planet Money podcast, Jeff Guo. Wailin, Jeff, welcome to It's Been a Minute.
Amazing to be here.
Hi.
All right. So, I have a question. What is your favorite unscientific recession indicator?
Oh.
Lipstick.
Yes. So one thing that happens in a recession is, people are spending less, right? But that doesn't mean they're spending less on certain things. And sometimes what happens is you see people looking for little luxuries, right? Like they can't afford the big, expensive thing, but they're going to buy a little thing just to keep their spirits up and to make the recession feel less bad.
What about you, Wailin? What is your favorite unscientific recession indicator?
I think my favorite unscientific recession indicator is people canceling their bougie fitness memberships or downgrading. Like if you have the unlimited plan at your Pilates studio, you drop down to the 8 classes a month plan.
Listen, it's getting to be that time for a lot of us. And also, I mean, it's not just us. Everyone from hedge fund managers to online content creators are thinking a lot about the state of the economy right now, and for good reason. Threats of new tariffs shook global markets all week and are prompting companies to adjust to the uncertainty. For example, Nintendo's brand new Switch 2 console was set to open pre-orders in the U.S. this very week, but that has been delayed because of newly imposed tariffs. But it's not just about luxury game consoles. People's retirement savings are disappearing, and this current moment doesn't feel like the vibes session of a few years ago when people felt bad about the economy, but the numbers still looked good, right? If we're being honest, it sort of feels similar, and I was around for this too, to the 2008 moment I'm sure a lot of us remember quite vividly, myself included. So this had me wondering, are we actually barreling headfirst into a recession? How do we prepare culturally for this potential economic hit? So, Jeff and Wailin, lots of big, weighty questions, but I just want to start with, how do we define a recession? And how do we know when we're in a recession?
This is such a juicy question because there is this kind of standard, almost textbook definition of a recession that I certainly was raised with, and so far as anyone is raised with the definition of a recession, and that is 2 quarters of negative economic growth. But as Jeff could tell you, because Planet Money has done some really fun reporting around this, that actually doesn't really hold. It's really about how people feel, including economists. It's really more of a feeling than hard data.
Wait, that actually...
Yeah, the 2 quarters thing is actually a little bit of an urban legend. And that was why this Planet Money episode was so illuminating, right? Because we realized that it's a lot squishier than that when these people get in a room and look at the data and decide whether a recession is happening or has happened.
Yeah, that, I'll say, you're blowing my mind a little bit right now, y'all. Oftentimes regular folks will feel like they're already in a recession, personally, before financial institutions officially declare one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when a new artist comes onto the scene and you're like, oh, this person, they're kind of getting popular. The last time this happened to me was Chapel Roan, where I was like, oh, my friends are talking about her. Is Chapel Roan a thing? And then there comes a moment where you realize, oh, wait, no, she really is a thing. She is selling out Lollapalooza. She is everywhere. She's on Colbert. And I feel like with a recession, it's kind of like that too, where you're looking around, you're looking at your own financial situation, you're looking at your friends' financial situation. You're like, oh, things are not great. Oh, yeah, no. It's a thing. It's a recession.
Yeah, like a little bit creeping up and then all of a sudden all at once everywhere.
So should we be preparing for a recession right now? Like, what should we be doing?
I think the current tariffs we're seeing are interesting because, I, as an elder millennial, have lived through recessions, none whose cause, if we are in fact headed into an official recession, is meteor-like. Do you know what I mean? Where you have kind of a single economic policy that might single-handedly cause this much chaos in the economy.
Right.
I think that is pretty interesting, and it's definitely a new experience. I think a lot of us are like, well, how do we deal with this, right? Like, what should I be buying? I mean, the tariffs are something that have such a direct impact on our consumption, right? Because all of a sudden, we're now paying really close attention to the things that I buy or that I need or that I'm planning to buy. Where are they made? How much is the price going up? And that is something extremely concrete that is different than like, oh, I hear there's a housing bubble and now the housing bubble has burst and maybe like you don't have a mortgage, it doesn't affect you. Or do you know what I mean? Like it feels like, if you are someone who buys things, and that's pretty much everyone, even someone who isn't like a super shopper or whatever, you like could be affected by this. You almost certainly will be.
So speaking of shopping, like what are people buying more of right now?
On my social media, I saw people are buying 6 months worth of Korean sunscreen.
Listen, I wish I had.
All of that Korean beauty is going to get lots more expensive. So if you have, a brand of moisturizer, sunscreen, what have you, I think people are stocking up. Now, remember, those have an expiration date. So don't buy so much that it's all going to go bad before you get to use it. But I definitely have seen on my, like skincare social media, people stocking up.
What are you seeing, Jeff? What are you seeing people buying more of?
I think you see people buying more of like store brand stuff, like trading down from like Coke
Value,
to
Kirkland,
whatever, cola. Yeah, store brands. I feel like that's going to be a big thing if and when, or already as we're in this recession. Who knows?
Interesting. I wonder about dupes. Dupes for the uninitiated they could be anything from a product that works really pretty close to the way that like a big brand name kind of fancier product does, to just something that seems like it's kind of similar but really doesn't work as well. But the big thing is that a dupe is always going to be less expensive than the original.
Oh, always. Yeah. And I think this is huge in makeup and skincare. And they're very unapologetic about their dupes, the companies that make them. Like there's this one brand, it's relatively new. You can find it at Target now. I think it's from Australia. It's called Emco Beauty. And if you look at their packaging, it is so close to Charlotte Tilbury and Laneige that I'm shocked there hasn't been a lawsuit. Like, honestly, it's very difficult to tell the difference. But the price point is so much lower than the more premium brands that they're emulating that I feel like in a recessionary environment or an environment where people are watching their budgets, it's like no question, right? Like that you would go for that product.
There have been all these studies on the millennials who graduated into the 2008 recession. Myself included, and I still remember it. Okay?
You're like, I'm still processing.
I'm still processing it now. And the long-lasting effects that economic moment had on the rest of their lives. Is there anything that Gen Z can learn from what millennials experienced in 2008?
I guess my advice would be stay open to possibilities. I think a lot of the recession scarring, as economists call it, that happened during the last recession happened because people, they couldn't find the right job or they were holding out for the right job and they were not getting the experience that they needed to get them ahead in their careers. And so their careers were set back by years and years.
Yeah, I would agree with that because based on economic research around this recession scarring, what happened is that even young people who were trying to find jobs in the 2010s as the economy was officially in recovery, even they had recession scarring because they were in the job market competing with more experienced workers who were willing to take maybe a more junior position because they had just been unemployed or whatever. And so that put younger workers without experience at this disadvantage. And then that kept them kind of pushed down the career ladder for years and years in this scarring kind of way. way. That's what the research shows.
Ah, my gosh. Yeah, I mean, you both bring up such good points. So I think back to that whole period. It was a hard time. I was at least fortunate enough to be able to go back and live with my parents.
Oh, me too.
I had one friend who had his own apartment at that time.
Oh my God, what a luxury.
Only one, and everybody else I know was living with their parents. But, between this recession or looming recession or real vibe session that we're experiencing and these tariffs, especially the tariffs that are being placed on Chinese goods, aka where tons of the little treats that people buy themselves online every day are coming from.
Sure.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how, younger consumers will respond to both their budgets changing and also the prices changing on, some of these formerly super cheap goods.
It's going to change the culture, for sure. Not having access to fast fashion, however you feel about that. Having access to all of these, hobby goods, cheap watercolors. If you want to learn how to do watercolors, you can get a $10 watercolor set on Amazon. That kind of stuff.
Or a cheap skein of yarn or something if you want to get into knitting. And now RIP Joann's Fabric, so we don't even have access to that anymore.
That's a really good point. Oh my gosh. Well, talking about all this, it just reminds me that America is a consumer economy. Americans love cheap goods from China. I wonder, how would these increased tariffs fundamentally change how we live in America? How would that affect how we see ourselves as Americans?
I think that if these tariffs stick around on China, we're going to very quickly realize how many things not only that we don't make here, but that we fundamentally cannot make here. Like the iPhone. I know people have said, we're just going to make iPhones here. It is extremely hard to make an iPhone. You need a very complicated supply chain. The parts in an iPhone come from literally everywhere. And figuring out a way to do all of that here, in theory, maybe it's possible if you had 30 years and trillions of dollars to build all the different factories and the different supply chains, but that's just fundamentally not how our economy, not how the world's economy works. And so I think we're going to very quickly realize through the higher prices and also maybe just the lack of variety of goods and lack of goods on our store shelves, we're going to realize how truly dependent we are on other countries as they are dependent on us. We are connected.
Yeah, I also wonder if there's an opportunity there, too, for Americans to consider why these goods may be so cheap in the first place and how fair some of the business practices are that allow for Americans to pay so little for goods that are still being made by human beings in other countries.
There's something you said, Brittany, I wanted to comment on that I thought was really interesting. So you were talking about this feeling of, well, we're just consumers in America and we don't make things anymore. That fundamentally, I think, is an anxiety that many people feel on the left and the right. It's is it okay that we don't make stuff here? Is it okay that we buy most of our manufactured goods from other countries?
You raise a really good point, Jeff. There's an opportunity for people to rethink their attitudes toward how we participate in a global economy and perhaps understanding that we are much more interdependent on other countries than maybe people previously assumed.
For sure.
But Waylon, Jeff, I have learned so much here. Thank you both so much.
Thanks. This is great. You made me think about so many things. I loved it.
This is so much fun.
Y'all are both so much fun. And as a thank you to you for teaching me something, I'd like to teach y'all something by playing a game with you all. Can you stick around for a tiny bit longer?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Jeff, you seem a little trepidatious. It's okay.
Bringing this on us.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll be right back with a little game I like to call, But Did You Know? Stick around.
This message comes from Amazon. Have you ever been so sick that even the thought of standing up to go to the doctor made you even more sick? Amazon One Medical has 24/7 virtual care so you can get help while horizontal. And with Amazon Pharmacy, you can get medicine delivered fast right to your door. You just have to make it to your door. Thanks to Amazon, healthcare just got less painful. This message comes from strawberry.me. You've worked hard to get where you are, but what's next? Strawberry.me Career Coaching helps professionals like you take the next big step with confidence by matching you with a certified career coach who understands your goals and challenges. This isn't just advice, it's a personalized, results-driven approach to uncover hidden strengths, overcome obstacles, and accelerate your career growth. Visit strawberry.me/NPR to claim your $50 credit.
This message comes from Betterment. When investing your money starts to feel like a second job, Betterment steps in with a little work-life balance. Their automated investing and savings app handles your money, constantly being diversified and optimized so you can focus on what matters most. Because your money doesn't need a work-life balance, you do. Make your money hustle with Betterment. Get started at Betterment.com. Investing involves risk. Performance not guaranteed. This is a message from Noom. When it comes to weight loss, no two people are the same. That's why Noom's programs are personalized and based on your unique psychology and biology. With Noom, the days of starting and stopping weight loss plans are over. Start building better habits with Noom. Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com.
All right. We are going to play a little game I like to call What Did You Know? Here's how it works. I'm going to share a story that's been making headlines this week, and as I give you some background on the story, I'll also ask you trivia related to it. But don't worry, it's all multiple choice. The right answer is in there somewhere, and the first one to blurt out the right answer gets the point. The first one, okay?
I'm so worried.
Person with the most points wins, and their prize is bragging rights, those good old NPR bragging rights, baby.
Guys, my algorithm is so deranged. I'm not going to know any of this.
No, you'll see. It's going to be fun.
Okay.
So this week, we got an update on the ongoing war between books versus brain rot. According to a brand new NPR Ipsos poll looking at American reading habits, what percentage of Americans read one book, in the month of February? Was it A, 34%, B, 51%, or C, 68%?
I'm going A.
B.
Well, Jeff, look at you. You were nervous and you got it right. The answer
Really?
is B.
That's higher than I thought. I always thought, very few people are reading books,
Waylon,
and
I thought it was even less than 34%. You and I are on the same page. But
I would have, if there was a number lower than 34, that's what I would have picked, actually.
They could be lying.
you know what? You saying something right there. They could be lying, but you were right.
It's my SAT strategy. Pick the middle one.
Pick the middle one. Well, unfortunately for books, 80% of Americans say they watch TV during that time. I know I was watching The Pit. To which I will now force both of you to pick a side. Whose side are you on, books or TV?
Oh,
You're going to make us pick?
I know.
it has to be books. Come on,
I'm
guys.
going books.
Oh my gosh, I love you all for choosing books. I think that is so virtuous, and I love books.
Well, also, books can turn into TV, right? They are the fount of...
Yeah, exactly.
ideas.
Source of IP
Oh my gosh.
of TV.
And see, and you know what? That's the kind of thinking that would get you rewarded in Hollywood, Jeff. Okay. All right. Question 2. What is the number one reason Americans say they aren't reading more? Is it A, TV, B, lack of interest in reading, or C, not enough time because of life activities?
I'd say C.
C.
Waylon says C, and Jeff says C. Waylon, you were first. The answer is correct, C. It turns out we are also incredibly busy with life activities that we don't feel like we have enough time to read, which honestly, that's relatable. I'll also add that this is the number one reason by a huge margin. 43% of Americans say this is the reason compared to the second most popular answer at 32%, which is a preference for other mediums of entertainment, aka TV. And I have to say, I don't want to say people are lying. But the 32% of you that said that TV is the reason you're not reading, I just want to commend your honesty right there. You're like, I'm not even going to front. I'm having too much fun watching TV. All right. To recap the score. Oh, I love it when it gets to this point. We got a tie. Jeff, you're at 1 point. Waylon, you're at 1 point.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. Without further ado.
Tiebreaker?
Tiebreaker. The tie-breaking. Final question. We've talked a lot about the people who don't read. But I see you readers out there, and it turns out, for those of you that do read, what is by far the most popular genre according to the NPR poll? Is it A, fantasy, B, thrillers, crime or mystery, all lumped in together, or C, Romance.
C.
Romance.
You both say C.
Yeah.
Okay. That's too bad. The answer is B, thrillers.
Really?
It is. No kidding. All right.
Listen, I love a thriller. I love to be shocked and surprised. And also, I love mystery. But at the end of the day, I feel like people love crime. I hate to say it. I hate that that's a true
True
thing.
crime,
People love
non-true crime. Yeah,
Yep.
all the crimes. That's so interesting because I'm a huge romance reader. I'm a huge reader in general, but I
love
read
romance.
a ton of romance. And maybe I've just been a little bit too romance-pilled where I'm like, everyone's reading romance all the time, because it is a best-selling, a huge category.
Well, 37% of respondents to the survey said that thrillers were their favorite genre.
That's relatable.
But now I'm like, maybe we should blow this popsicle stand and start a true crime podcast, okay? Get this money.
Never too late.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has one of those. So I think there's gold in them hills or whatever they
So
say.
which one of us is committing the crime?
I'm not committing any crime. We just have to catch somebody who's committing a crime.
We have to solve a murder Nancy Drew style.
Oh, all right. Turn off the mics. We'll discuss this.
All right. That's it for But Did You Know for this week. Congratulations to neither of you.
Well
or both of
played.
you
Well
on your
played.
win. But you know what that means? That means you got to come back and have a rematch.
Yes.
There we go. There we go. Oh my gosh. This was so much fun. Waylon, Jeff, thank you both so much for joining me today.
It was a pleasure.
So much fun. Thanks for having us.
That was co-host of NPR's Indicator podcast, Waylon Wong, and co-host of NPR's Planet Money podcast, Jeff Guo. This episode of It's Been a Minute was produced by
Corey Bridges.
This episode was edited by
Nina Patak.
Our supervising producer is
Barton Girdwood.
Our executive producer is
Verilyn Williams.
Our VP of programming is
Yolanda Sanguini.
All right, that's all for this episode of It's Been a Minute from NPR. I'm Brittany Luce. Talk soon.
This message comes from Warby Parker. If you wear glasses, you know how hard it is to find the perfect pair. But step into a Warby Parker store and you'll see it doesn't have to be. Find a Warby Parker store near you at warbyparker.com/retail.
This message comes from EasyCater, committed to helping organizations order and manage food for all their business needs. With online ordering from favorite restaurants, employee meal programs, and tools to see and control food spend at easycater.com.
This message comes from Carvana. Carvana makes financing your next car easy. Buy 100% online with customizable terms good for 30 days. Buy your car the convenient way with Carvana. Terms may apply.